Hey, Andrew.
Hey, that's not
Hey,
how
Andrew.
this works.
Andrew.
No, you're not gonna talk to the judge like that.
Andrew,
That's not how this works.
It's not everybody's in the same socioeconomic class as you are. But here's another thing, Andrew.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, Andrew. It don't make sense, Andrew. You smart, man. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, Andrew.
You won't believe what happened in court today. A man who identifies as a sovereign citizen showed up over a simple parking ticket, but instead of just paying the fine and moving on, he ended up spending the night in jail. Why? Because he repeatedly called the judge by his first name, as if that would somehow work in his favor. It was a bizarre scene. Rather than taking the situation seriously, he chose to argue, disrupt the process, and completely ignore courtroom etiquette.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, come on up to the
We
podium.
can talk, man.
Hey, keep going.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Two case files, 24-02561 and
93 days, right? Is that what you recommend?
Yeah.
That's what you recommend, but you were cool with it. You said no probation. And hey, Andrew.
Hey, that's not how
Hey,
this
Andrew.
works.
Andrew.
No, you're not gonna talk to the judge like that.
Andrew,
That's
Andrew.
not how this works.
It's not everybody's in the same socioeconomic class as you are. It was 400 for the tether just to buy it, and it was 300 for a month just to get it.
The last thing I wanna do is put you in jail because you're causing an upset to the court.
I agree, Preston, I agree with that. What up, man?
I need you to relax.
Otherwise, I'm cool,
You're
man.
here on a review. Yeah,
I'm
here
here
is
to review. It's a review.
Mr. Finley, Mr. Finley, you have to stop. You have to stop. The review to get you back on the right track.
Right, but here's another thing, Andrew.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, Andrew.
Sure. Stop. Let him talk.
And when we need people to, and you gave me time, that would be like giving someone time for a parking violation. It don't make sense, Andrew, you smart, man.
That's not how this works. I'm gonna give you
How
a
that-
chance to relax. Right. Just stand here and let's do the review. Mr. Young?
I'm still here recording. And you can read it, all the statutes you want. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, Andrew.
Mr. Finley, I have to hold you in direct contempt for
Oh.
continuing to interrupt
Let's go
the
with
court. You're sentenced to a day in jail.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Honestly, it's hard to understand how something as minor as a parking ticket turned into an arrest. Some people online say calling a judge by their first name isn't a big deal, but what do you think? Personally, I can't imagine doing that when someone is about to make a decision that directly affects my life. Let's take a look at the footage. It really seems like there was some kind of history between the two. The way he kept saying Andrew felt oddly personal. Maybe they knew each other before? Hard to say. I couldn't find much background on the guy, but this clip was both shocking and a little surreal. Now on to another case that's just as wild, this time involving a woman who also claims to be a sovereign citizen. She's in court.
Midland Credit Management versus Rachel Langone, 24-04774. Council appearance, please.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Smith, P63010, appearing on behalf of Midland.
Plaintiff, please state your name for the record.
Rachel Langone.
Your volume is a little low.
Okay. Is that any better?
That's better. Okay, so today was the date that was scheduled for a motion for summary disposition that was filed by Midland. They're asking for the court to strike, excuse me, the defendant's answer and dismiss the counterclaim, saying that the counterclaim doesn't seek relief that the court could grant.
She is seeking dismissal of the claims against her and asking for an award of $3,744. It does not go into any detail about anything my client would have done wrong. So there's really no basis on which to grant any sort of relief as to the counterclaim. As for our motion for summary disposition, reviewing the defendant's pleadings filed, the crux of the matter is she doesn't believe that she owes anything to Midland because the original creditor was a different entity. So it was a Children's Place credit card held through Community Bank. The account was used. We attached about a year and a half worth of billing statements to our motion showing use, purchases and payments on the subject account. In December of 2021, the account was charged off and sold to Midland. Also, as part of our documents is a letter sent by Comenity to Ms. Langoni explaining that the account with Comenity has been charged off. It was purchased by Midland Credit Management. Any further communications and or payments were to be made with Midland Credit Management. Ms. Langoni did in fact contact Midland and set up a payment plan. The payment plan was ultimately defaulted with only 1 or 2 payments having been applied to the account. So there's just really no issue left to resolve. Midland owns the account. The balance due and owing, there's no dispute as to that. There's no dispute that Ms. Langoni had the original card. The only issue is her belief that she doesn't have to pay Midland. And again, based on the proofs provided by Midland, and the fact that there was in fact a payment plan set up with Midland, I'll point to the fact that Midland does in fact own the account, is permitted to collect on same. And so we're asking that Your Honor, please dismiss the counterclaim for the reasons previously stated, and then also grant summary disposition on Midland's claim, as there really is no underlying issue for trial.
Over a debt. But instead of resolving it, she's demanding to be paid for her time. Yes, seriously, she wants money from the plaintiff. She actually said it with a completely straight face, as if she were the one being wronged. At one point, she even claimed her legal defense was too complicated to explain.
Okay, Ms. Langone, I don't see a response to the plaintiff counter defendant's motion from you.
No, and I did try to contact legal aid and get some advice. The only thing that she told me that I could do was to ask you to amend my response. As far as what she sent, I still, when we were here the last time and I met with counsel in a separate room, I still maintain that I would like to see the contract. Whether that's, I mean, especially between myself and Comenity, to see that they were legally able to sell the debt. Because if I could go to trial, I would show that the chances that the Comenity was paid for the debt. And I want to be able to show that. It's very different, because if I were to go to court with Comenity, that would have to go through a federal court. It's very different. Let
me get some clarity here. You're not disputing that you had a Children's Place account, correct?
Correct.
You're not disputing that there was a balance of $643.63?
No, I'm not disputing that.
Okay, your dispute is that you have paid that $643.63? It
was paid when I opened the account.
It was paid by who?
The process, and this is why I wanted to go to trial, because there's so much to explain.
And ran with it. And the funniest part? She ends her appearance with a polite, "Thank you," after wasting the court's time for nearly an hour. Do you think she's ever going to pay back the $600 she owes? Or is she going to keep insisting that debt doesn't exist? It's hard to say. Sovereign citizens have a habit.
And
Your Honor, if I may, I believe this is, we've seen this going around online. It basically comes down to an argument that credit cards aren't real money, and somehow by opening a credit card, Comenity is really doing some other sort of banking thing, and it's not really money that has to be paid back. You have to let her give her response, because she's not actually drafted a motion or a responsive motion to you. And then I'll let you respond.
to what she's saying, but she's got to have an opportunity to make her statements as to what she believes her defense is.
Sure.
So you're saying you didn't pay, you charged $643.63 on the Children's Place card, but you didn't pay for it?
I did pay on it at the time because I didn't realize what had happened. And when this all started, when I started questioning what was going on, I had called
What do you
Commendity
mean, what was going on? I don't know what that means.
when I was trying to understand the legalities of a contract and how the banking system works. I was just studying this on my own. And so I had called Commendity a couple times, spoke to two different people, and all I did was I wanted the original contract so that I could learn the legal terms, how it works, the process. And when they kept telling me
Okay.
that they didn't have this contract, that's when I started asking more questions and learning that how important contract law is, and the fact that it's somehow magically disappeared. I don't understand why the most important legally binding contract would have just magically disappeared. So I started asking a lot of questions, and what I'm basing it off of is off of federal regulations, federal codes, the UCC 3. It's not what the attorney just made it out to be, but it is a lot to explain, and I'm still learning. But
Okay.
I do want to maintain my right to defend myself against.
That your right to defend yourself starts with the summary disposition. You don't just get to skip over that portion. If there is a motion for summary disposition, they're saying that you don't have a valid defense, that you have not presented an issue of genuine dispute. You need to now plead to me something that makes me believe that there is an issue of genuine fact that needs to be resolved by either a jury or a trier of fact. And you've not yet provided me that. That's why it was important for you to respond in writing to their motion. I'm giving you an opportunity now to respond verbally, but I need to hear some information that would allow me to understand your mindset and why you believe that you can open a credit card and then charge a balance and then not have to pay the balance.
Right, and that's
so answer that.
It is very difficult to explain, but I can.
Of treating small amounts of money like it's a matter of life and death. She even claimed she deserved $3,000.
I 100% would not have disputed this with Midland if that was the case, that I just wanted to borrow money and not pay it back. That's honestly,
Okay, so
that's not what it's about.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm trying to follow. So your dispute is that the past due debt was charged off. I'm not following what the dispute is.
I feel like I need to, I obviously I didn't go to law school, so understanding this process is not easy for me. And if I lose the case, it's going to be because of a procedural issue and my own fault, not because I'm wrong though. I've learned way too much about the bank's process at this point. But well, I just have to maintain that there's no contract.
I would disagree with that because what you've said so far was that you opened a credit card, that you used that credit card to purchase some things, and then you didn't pay the credit card. And I'm trying to understand, but you said that the credit card, it was paid, and I'm trying to figure out how was it paid if you didn't pay it?
It's the banking process when I provide my social security number and did not fully understand what I was signing and what I was signing over.
Okay, so because you signed a contract for a credit card and you didn't fully understand, you think that that's a defense?
Well, see, that's the tricky thing is my defense would be different with Commendity versus Midland. So anytime
we're not talking about that. We're not talking about what hypothetically your defense would be with Commendity. This is Midland Credit Management versus Rachel Lamco.
So I'm maintaining that they don't have there's no contract to base any of the allegations in the papers that Midland has submitted. It's all based off of if there was a contract, and there is no contract.
There's no contract, you mean, between you and Midland Credit Union? Is that what you're saying?
Or
credit management?
or myself and Comenity. Nobody has that contract.
No, I didn't ask you
either.
what, if anyone had the contract or anyone's produced it. I've already stated on the record that you signed a agreement with Community.
Right, but usually there's clauses in that agreement if they can legally sell my debt to a third party. So I would like to see that they could legally sell my debt to the third party.
Okay, so your defense was that you wanted to see evidence that they could legally sell the debt to Midland.
Yes.
Okay. Any other defenses?
No. Thank you.
Okay, and then you filed a counter suit
Yeah, that was for my time doing
for
it.
your time.
Yeah,
What do you mean for your time?
for responding and getting this suit that I don't agree with, and I figured if the attorney could get paid for their time, then I could get paid for mine.
Do you believe that you should get paid $3,744 for your time?
Yeah.
For doing research, but there was no actual legal argument behind any of it. It really just sounded like she spent a few hours reading random posts online and thought she had a case. Let me know what you think in the comments. I always enjoy hearing your thoughts, especially on cases as strange as these. If you like this kind of courtroom chaos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.